I mean, the point of the studio is to support artists and actors and comedians to create their digital content, whether it's auditions or voiceover or podcasts or their own web videos. And a part of that for us long term at Laughing Vikings has been outward facing productions like stand up shows, which I've always produced stand up shows. I've just
Mm-hmm.
produced them in other people's venues and never had a venue that we've used here right next to our studio. And then long term, as you know, Brandon and I, we've talked about this lots, is we want to get to the point where we're producing scripted TV series, maybe sketch comedy series, feature films.
Mm-hmm.
So we have our internal side here for actors, comedians, and creators, where all the studio and digital media equipment is available for use. But we also, the reason that we're doing that is then to create TV shows and to create comedy specials and to create sitcoms and feature films and all of these things. And it'll be Laughing Vikings people and our friends, sort of much like Happy Madison is Adam Sandler's production company, or Heartbeat Productions is Kevin Hart. Those are people who they started as an artist at just themselves and trying to
Mm-hmm.
make their way. And then once they got to a point where they were doing well enough, they had a company and a production company to start funding the dreams and the projects, not only of their own but of their friends and all their buddies. So that's really what we're trying to do here, is get this whole machine to the point where Laughing Vikings is this global thing that supports artists and creators and green lights projects and creates comedy tours and has multiple venues. We're working on the Silent Yacht, which is the solar electric yacht with unlimited range, zero emissions. I'm currently saving up 2.5 million euros to afford one of those. I think maybe, I don't know how much I got. Maybe I got about 1,000 of those euros lined up right now. So
Hey, there you go. That's
sweet.
something. That's
Yeah, yeah,
something to
yeah.
start.
My long term goal with the Silent Yacht, and I say this because I put it out there, and a part of me is like, look at this asshole talking about his yacht in the middle of a pandemic. I was never a yacht guy in my life. Often, if I see a giant yacht, I'm like, that's a bit much. Also, they're
Mm-hmm.
massive gas guzzlers. Like they're just diesel beasts. Like they're horrible for the environment. Until I saw these Silent Yachts, a company out of Europe called Silent Yachts, 100% they're solar. Someone might say, yeah, but it takes electricity and gas to make solar stuff. Yeah, but once you have the boat, it's zero emissions and you never use any more gas. Unlimited range. So my grand vision for that is to be internationally going port to port to port, doing shows and or shoots in international cities, and then back at night having like VIP gatherings on the Silent Yacht and just go port to
Yeah.
port. And whether countries are closed, I don't want to be restricted. So I want to get to the point where I'm a world traveler. And I kind of believe that all humans, I'm not a big fan of nationalism and I'm not a big fan of borders. I think now that we've, especially with space travel, now that we've reached a point where we can clearly see that we are all on one sphere and that we're all in this together and we're basically all connected by these digital things so that we can in real time see and hear and really feel what other people are doing on the other side of the world. I think we need to get to that point where we don't have all these imaginary lines drawn. We just need to figure out a way. I know that's the logistics of figuring out how to take care of 9 billion people is difficult, but I think fake borders and holding people, especially if you're in somewhere that's like super fucked up and doesn't have infrastructure and they're bombing the shit out of you and you don't have food, the fact
Mm-hmm.
that you can't walk a few kilometers or a few hundred kilometers or get on a boat and go somewhere where you can make a livelihood and find some safety for your family is kind of insane. So my way of doing that long term is to get a boat that I can just drive around the world. And if I never have to set foot on any country because the country's closed, I can just be in international waters. And we'll do this live from the Silent Yacht. That's the plan.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a cool dream to have, especially like with the zero emissions. Like that's really interesting.
Yeah, it's unlimited range. It's transoceanic. So like they did a test a couple years ago where they took it like New York to England or
Okay.
I don't know if it was Florida to England or where they went, but I mean you don't normally bomb through the middle of the ocean because if you get into trouble out there, you're kind of in trouble. But usually stick to the coastlines as you go up and around continents and stuff. But yeah, it seems perfect and it's pretty sick. Like it's pretty. It's pretty sweet. Chances are I'll end up getting some kind of sponsor. Like I'll get a corporate sponsor. Maybe we'll put a tour together, slap some big corporate sponsor names on that, and that will end up funding it. Where like Laughing Vikings will lease it, but in conjunction with some corporate sponsors to do tours. And that's part of the reason that I always wear this. This is a reminder for me wearing my captain's hat until I actually have the thing. And then you've seen the screensaver where I did a screensaver with like I photoshopped Laughing Vikings on it. So in my mind it's already a done deal. It's just a matter of the timing when it actually happens.
Nice. Yeah. I have my dream up on my whiteboard so I wake up seeing it every day.
What is it? Tell me.
Oh, I'm going to be the best actor in the world.
There you go. All right.
Doesn't matter where, doesn't matter what, stage, screen, voiceover. I'm going to be the best actor in the world.
Shout out to Bo Eason from There's No Plan B for Your A Game. Bo Eason was an NFL football player, and then he became an actor. He had a long Broadway run. Now he's a world-renowned speaker. And one of the things in his book, he talks about the importance of making a personal declaration that involves being the best. Like he just preaches that over and over. Like if you don't set a bar to be the best, then you kind of just live this middle of the road, mediocre life that may or may not get you anywhere. But people who set a standard, be like, you know what, fuck it, I'm going for the gold, I'm going to be the best, they always live the better lives. So
well, it's funny because I came up with that dream a couple of years ago before I started working here and before you introduced me to Bo Eason. And like I had been wanting to do, like, that was my dream for a little while before meeting you. And like now it's just sort of coming together better now because now I met you, I'm working here, I'm doing the self-tapes, I'm doing more stuff that's creative and more stuff that's allowing me to have more of a voice in the industry rather than before where I didn't really have anything. And I was just going from audition to audition, hoping and praying that something would happen. Right. Now I'm just more actively trying to pursue what I want to pursue.
Right. And it's sort of having the mentality of, if I were that top level best performer in the world, how do those people live their days? What do they do? How are they training? How are they studying? How are they treating their body? Who are they talking to? What events are they attending? And it's a very audacious thing to say. And especially Canadian culture is very apologetic and, I don't want to be too loud. I don't want to trumpet my dreams. But and I'm 50% American. Technically, I have my U.S. citizenship, and I'm like, I don't know, I think I'm fairly vocal, but compared to some people in the States, I think people in the States are way more on the like, fuck yeah, we're the best, I'm the best, fuck you, and I'm better than you kind of thing. Which it's not one or the other. You being the best, really, it means like, there's no objective way to measure the best actor in the world. So really what it means is you're aiming to be your best, which if you get there when you get there, you'll just be in the echelon of the best, right? You'll be mentioned you'll be in films working with the best directors, working with the best actors. You'll be, by default, you'll end up at award shows where the top people are being recognized. Not that you're doing it for the awards, but you wanted to become the best, and then you're recognized by your peers or by the industry. And I think it's an important thing. I think people shrink out of the fear of like, well, who am I to say I'm the best? People are going to think that I'm a big asshole because I'm saying I'm the best. And I think he sort of
talks about it in his book, Don Miguel Ruiz, where he says, don't take things personally, because especially if someone's throwing shade at you for something that you are trying to do, that's a passion of yours, they're projecting something from their own personality onto you. It's not about what they're saying to you. That doesn't matter. It's what you're doing. That scares them.
Yeah. And it's the other thing is, and a lot of my coaches have talked about this, whether it's acting coaches or business people or personal growth, is your dreams are your dreams. They weren't given to other people. So it's like, it does. And a lot of people will be like, oh, my husband doesn't support me, my parents don't support me, my friends, but like, fuck all that. They don't need to support you, and it's not their responsibility to support your dreams. They weren't put on this earth to fulfill your dreams. You were put on this earth to receive those. If you have those whisperings in your subconscious or wherever that comes from, the universe or the ether, if you're hearing these things and having these visions, those are for you. If people want to support that, great. They can hop on board the Brandon train. But none of your success has anything to do with anyone else in your life saying, we approve, we're going to rubber stamp this, and you go get them, Brandon. We 100% believe in you. You don't need that at all. Like, you don't. And if you're a person, whether you're an actor or a comedian, if you're waiting for your parental or your neighbors, or you're trying to get the opinions of other comedians that you admire, you're like, oh, I just wish these other, like, that's sometimes a thing where it's like people are sort of putting together their act, not for an audience or not for themselves, but for other industry people. It's like, you can't really do that either. You just have to be true to your own dreams, be loyal to your own dreams, and then let the chips fall where they may. And what you'll find is the more you are trumpeting and speaking your dreams and putting your positive visions and goals out there, the right people will come into place. And other people will fall away. Other people will challenge you and be, how dare you? How do you, like, you're never going to do that?
Who do you think you
are? How dare you be so audacious? And that's only to test you. That's all of that is there for you as well, because always when you, and I think Bo Easton talks about this in his book, when you make those declarations, people will come out of the woodworks to support, and other people will come out of the woodworks to try and tear that down. And both of those people, even if they're people who love you, both of those people are coming to you to help in a weird way to bolster your dreams, because it's up to you to then drive forward despite that noise, or to drive forward with the help and support of your tribe.